we mentioned that YouTube has opened up the doors to actually like question the 2020 election results. They haven't lifted the ban on vaccine skepticism or anything like that. But one of the places that we thought was a safe haven was Twitter with the new management with Elon Musk and basically being the free speech platform. But something happened this last week which kind of sent shockwaves through the free speech community, and that was this idea that the Daily Wire was premiering for its 1-year anniversary for free this documentary by Matt Walsh called "What Is a Woman." It's a very good documentary. I watched it, and it's a very common sense thing. Like, it doesn't attack anyone. It just asks a bunch of people this question: "What is a woman?"
Yeah.
And it shows you their unedited answers. And it's so crazy that any sane, rational person watching that would realize that there is some major issues surrounding transgenderism and stuff like that. But when Twitter basically they had struck a deal with Daily Wire where they would premiere the movie and they would give it a special push to Twitter users in exchange for like a certain amount of money. But then the head of Twitter Trust and Safety flagged the movie for 2 instances of misgendering in the film, and basically Daily Wire came back and said, "You guys removed the misgender thing from your terms of service," and they said, "Well, it's still in our harassment policy, and you guys are therefore in violation of our harassment policy. So you can still play your movie, but we're just going to throttle it to the point where no one sees it, even your own subscribers." And so the full court press went out on this. Daily Wire came out publicly talking about like what's going on. Jeremy Boring, the CEO of Daily Wire, did a big long tweet thread. And at first, it looked like Elon Musk was like siding with his people. But then upon further inspection of what was going on, he realized that the deep state was still in Twitter, still doing the censorship stuff. And we can see here that the Twitter head of trust and safety basically resigned over this. So this was another social justice warrior that basically bit the dust because of this. And there's some funny, interesting. There are some funny interesting theories out there that Elon let this thing right out to try to see like who was still like doing like the censorship thing. But one of the interesting things is that once the story kind of developed, Elon came out publicly and said this was a mistake. People who censored this should not have done it. And not only that, but because of this controversy, a lot more people ended up watching the documentary on Twitter than they probably would have if the deal had gone through. So there's that Streisand effect. But on top of that, Elon pinned a tweet that said every parent needs to watch this documentary.
Woo!
And that's a huge deal. So in a weird way, this worked out.
He pinned it? He pinned it?
He pinned it. In a weird way, this worked out really well for the Daily Wire and this documentary. But it also leaves some questions as to like, okay, in the end it worked out, but what the BS we had to go through to get there was an issue. Now, John David, you're an author, you're a writer. As a novelist, free speech, being able to put what we want on page and publicly say it is very important to us. So what was your take on this whole kerfluffle?
Well, I'm completely 100% comfortable in anything that I believe in. And I'm comfortable to defend it. I'm comfortable to debate someone in regards to it. I want to believe that we can get along even though we disagree on something. But Elon brought up the point that even speech that you disagree with is important. And even the speech that I disagree with is still important. You go ahead and say what you want. It's when you start threatening people and stuff like that then I start having problems with you. I'm comfortable from where I stand to defend anything that I say. So I don't see why you're so adamant about possibly censoring or somebody else's opinion. Well, you're more than welcome. If you disagree with them, you're more than welcome to. You can make your own movie that contradicts what they say, that defends your position and contradicts what they say. Go right on ahead and do that. Why aren't you doing that instead of censoring the other person? No, you choose to censor the other person, or at least you try. So that I kind of have a problem with there.
Free speech is a double-sided coin.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Yeah,
have free speech on just one side and
Yep.
not have the other people that you disagree with not be able to speak either. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, censorship is like akin to like, I can't win, so I'm gonna take my ball and go home, or I can't debate you properly, I can't argue my case properly, and I don't like that you're saying something I disagree with. So instead of actually trying to form a thought, change my opinion, or rebut, something that you're saying that I think is incorrect, I'm just gonna make sure you can't say it. It's the definition of pussy. Sorry.
Yeah, Matt Vader, I think it's pretty clear that Elon hadn't seen this documentary until this whole thing happened, and then
Really?
after it premiered, I think he watched it and he realized, oh, like this is a common sense thing, and in fact, he recently came out and said that he's actively going to be campaigning against the idea of child gender transitions. This seems like a big red.
Why is that a hot take?
I don't know. This seems like a big red pill moment for Elon. What was your take on this whole controversy?
Well, honestly, it was kind of a red pill moment for me too. I'm not a huge Matt Walsh fan. I think the dude's kind of douchey, to be completely honest with you. But I had not bothered to watch this movie. I had my own take. I am not a fan of these people. I am not down with your pronouns. I'm never going to be. So I didn't really feel like I needed to watch this movie. I didn't think there was going to be anything new there for me because I'm already on board. But you know what? I watched this movie on my break during my breaks at work yesterday, and it was fascinating. I don't know if I would have bothered watching this movie if I had to pay for it by getting the sub over there, but them putting this out for free has opened it up to so many other people who maybe not, people like me who probably weren't going to watch it to begin with. And it's telling, it's powerful, it's wild. These people are out of their goddamn minds. What they're doing to children with this weird philosophy of theirs is insane. I don't even know if I have the words to describe how disgusted I was with a lot of this stuff that I saw, and him literally clowning these people, asking them a simple question of what a woman is, was brilliant because none of them, not one, could answer the freaking question. The professor at the school was just, he was amazing to watching him try to dance around Walsh's questions.
Professor,
it was wild.
Shaping young minds, couldn't figure it out. Yeah, what's funny is he wasn't even like really roasting them. He was more like just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think about this whole YouTube stuff or this Twitter stuff. If the leader of the Satanic Church of Satan came out and had a 90-minute long documentary he wanted to put out about why his church was so cool and all the neat people in it, Elon has to let that guy play his movie too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I don't have to watch it. I can go to somebody else's Twitter feed.
Bingo.
If it's on TV, I can switch the channel. I don't have to buy a ticket to go watch a movie at the theater. Yep. Change the channel if you don't like it. That's what
nail on the head.
That's
dude.
what this is all about. So this movie, I'm glad I watched it. And yes, you're right, Matt. The controversy has absolutely exploded this thing. So many more people are watching this movie now because of what happened with Twitter's little subversive people that are in there that were trying to make this thing stop, and they got clowned. They got shown who they were because they're not there anymore. And I think there's still probably some ramifications going down at Twitter HQ right now over this. And it was another good move. I don't think this is what they had planned, but it sure has worked out okay for Daily Wire and for this movie. And I'm glad Elon did what he did. and it's still pinned on his Twitter feed, by the way.
That's awesome.
I just went and looked. So yeah, that's what I got.
Hey guys, if you could do me a quick favor, if you like this episode and it tickles your fancy, or any other episode that we've done in the past, share it on social media and tag us in that post so that we know you're talking about us, and we will immediately jump onto that app and we will respond to your tag, and we can talk about what you like about the episode and possibly talk about something that we might want to cover in the future. And we would love to bring you in our community. We have a wonderful Discord app as well. There's a bunch of people in there that just love chatting with us. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you like this podcast, tag us in that post and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much. Back to the podcast.
Yeah. So Brian, you know what's interesting about this is that not only were more SJWs kind of like exposed in Twitter who were holding to the old ideological regime.
Not salty justice warriors, mind
Not
you.
salty justice warriors,
Yeah.
social justice warriors.
The other ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Elon also recently found like a list of stuff like banned websites within the code that where they would automatically be throttled if people link to them and stuff like that. And these were all like conservative websites. So like it's still clear that that the kind of cancer in Twitter of the anti-conservative, anti-Republican, anti-common sense type of political leaning is ingrained deep into that company, and we're still kind of dealing with an issue where Elon is trying to figure it out. I do think that it was interesting to see that this is kind of in the context of Ron DeSantis comes out and announces his campaign on a Twitter Space. Then you have like this type of thing happen, and the media keeps pouncing on Elon for calling him like like you're giving a platform to all the racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe people with your so-called free speech. And it's like, well, yeah, free speech is basically like anyone's allowed to say anything they want. That's what makes it free. And you're also allowed to refute them on it if you disagree. But
Right.
it seems like the mainstream media just keeps wanting to vilify this concept as opposed to acknowledge the fact that like it is fundamental to American society.
Yeah, man. You're right. So there is freedom of speech is a two-headed coin. If you're allowed to say whatever you want, then someone you agree with is allowed to say whatever they want. I find it very telling that the majority of people on the side of free speech that actually want freedom of speech have no issue with this. Right? It's the other side that wants to silence people. And you got to ask yourself why. Good ideas shine and flourish in sunlight, right? They're like plants, dude. They need, the sunlight to grow and to become stable trees or whatever. And bad ideas are like fungus, and direct sunlight kills it. So hiding bad ideas actually allow them to grow and fester and become a problem. So you got to ask yourself, why do they want to privatize their information and slowly push agenda and silence people that are speaking out against something like transitioning a child? I don't understand why that's a hot take. It's a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's a child. What are you talking about? No transitioning should be taking place on a child.
That doctor in the documentary should be in prison.
He should be in prison. It's stupid. What a ridiculous notion for someone to... I would love anyone that thinks that's okay to look me straight in the face and say, that's a good idea. Because I don't... It's so insane to me that in this day and age, when I say kids shouldn't transition, that's a problematic statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's common sense to me, dude.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, their bad ideas being sort of hidden and subverted and slowly allowed to take root in society because you have these high school students and high school teachers and elementary teachers who actually support this kind of bull crap. I'm trying not to curse. And they support transitioning kids, and they even tell their kids in the privacy of their classrooms, if your mommy and daddy don't are not supporting you and your feelings, please tell me and I'll help you. So they can pull them away from their parents and start, I'm sorry I'm going to use this word, but it's the right word, grooming them into an ideology that is not only dangerous, but lifelong lifelong destruction, right? And what happens is they'll take a child's confusion, which, by the way, all kids are confused.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be a dinosaur when I was a kid. Doesn't mean that you should have turned me into a dinosaur. I was talking to someone on Discord yesterday. I loved The Little Mermaid. When I was like 12 or 13, I wanted Ariel posters all over my room, right? 14 maybe. And I'll tell you why. I thought Ariel was fine.
Yeah, if you're into fish, I guess.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I liked redheaded chicks with very little clothes on top.
Yeah, I get it.
My parents thought I loved The Little Mermaid. I just liked Ariel.
I like girls. Just like girls.
In 2023, though, and with the wrong parent or the wrong teacher, it would have been like, so do you want to be a girl? And here's the problem with that. That you even, let's say you don't transition them fully. There's no surgery, whatever. Just straight up medication, right? Let's say you just start giving your kid medication like that girl Jasmine.
The puberty blockers, yeah.
Right. That is a life sentence. It's a life sentence. You will ruin their lives forever. Now, there might be a tiny percentage of them that appreciates that, and when they're older, they still have the same feelings and they want to be a girl or a guy or boy, whatever. And you know what? Fair enough. But that's going to be a tiny percent compared to the vast majority who will have their lives eternally ruined because you confused their confusion, or you utilized their confusion with malice to push an agenda and add social points to your catalog so you can tell your friends you helped another kid transition today. I feel so proud of myself.
The whole thing.
And now the kid's life is ruined forever. Forever. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It just blows my mind. I mean, I went through a period when I was a little kid, for a couple of days where I wanted to be a robot. So I was walking around, it's like, I'm a robot.
Robosexual?
Hi, Dad. How are you?
Hello, robot.
It's like, my mom and dad were like, and my grandpa and my grandma were like, that's cute. Are you going to be done with this pretty soon? There was none of this. Nowadays, you have to like, oh, would you like some oil on your cereal? Would you, can I help you become
you need
more
to drink
of a
some
robot?
motor oil?
And
let me lubricate your gears, son.
Yeah. And if you don't, and the kid goes, my mommy and daddy weren't supportive of me being a robot because I do think I'm a robot, then they're going to get talked to by CPS.
Some stupid elementary teacher who thinks that she's a hero. I'm sorry. Look, no offense of your teacher. That's great. I'm glad you took that role. I hope you're a good one, but you're not fucking heroes. Stop with that bullshit, okay? And stop thinking that you know better than parents. Especially if you're a teacher that doesn't have kids. You're 6 years old, just got your teacher's degree. You're teaching second grade and think that you know better than the parent. Fuck you. That's such bullshit when I see that. I hate that so much. I have 2 twin-year-old daughters. I had to pull them out of public school and put them into private school, which is expensive and something I can barely afford, because of teachers who think they knew better than me. Guess what? You fucking didn't.
I want to throw this to Tom Connors real quick. So, Tom, one of the issues here was Twitter has this policy called speech not reach, where if there is speech on the platform that they feel is hateful or bullying or whatever, they will throttle the reach so that nobody sees it. And in this case, even the people subscribed to Daily Wire weren't able to basically see the movie. And Jeremy Boring came out and said, like, that's like you have the right to vote. We're just not going to count the vote that you submit.
Like Internet Movie Database said, yeah.
Exactly. And so like there's this issue here where it's like either you got free speech or you don't. The idea that they would throttle something, like how do you define what hate speech is? How do you define what bullying is and stuff like that? So what do you think is the solution here? Is there a solution to it?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's either all okay or it's not okay. And a lot of things you guys have been talking about reminds me of the South Park movie. You know, once again, South Park has already touched on this crap.
Yep.
You know, mean words and hurtful words they tried to say were worse than actual violence in that movie, right? And that was 20 years ago. Actually, more than that, almost 25. So at this point, like we've already known this could be a problem. If you take away freedom of speech, what happens? Then eventually something else won't be okay. Something else won't be okay. And then you got to ask yourself, well, who is deciding these things, right?
Mhm.
And in this case, we kind of have an idea of it when it comes to the internet and Twitter. And we saw somebody get basically shit canned or left over this whole ordeal. Ella something or other her name was at Twitter. And yeah, because to me, this was a situation where it felt like this was a paid advertisement deal done through Daily Wire. This individual felt they were going to pull this crap and they didn't get away with it at the end of the day, luckily. But I think the bigger question you're asking me here is how far could this go? Or we know it's already been happening prior to this. It's not like nobody has realized that. We've all known that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't like anything being under the control of one person or a couple people that we have no idea who they are, what their affiliation is.
Well, I feel like Twitter's stance on misinformation with the community notes feature, where basically there's like a outsourced kind of like communal fact checking feature built into Twitter, has proven to be like super effective. So I'm just wondering, like, is there a way to adapt the community notes to basically tag stuff as actual, like, you know, like hate speech, or at least like point out like this isn't hate speech because like whatever. Because it seems to me like the big criticism is that, oh, you're giving a voice to hateful people, but in like history has shown us time and time again that the best way to combat hate is with speech, is with refuting the points, pointing out the bad ideas. And I think one of the reasons that like the whole transing the kids thing has gone so far is because it was verboten to talk about it, because you get labeled as like a transphobe or like a bigot or
Right.
anti-LGBTQ. And it was
Bad ideas fester, bro.
Yeah, it was the suppression of the opposition that allowed it to get as far as it has.
Exactly.
I think we worry about too much. I think we worry too much about what people who we're not going to get along with anyway are going to think about us or label us.
But it's not
label me whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
No, it's
Yeah,
not
but people
just
don't want to
that.
lose their jobs either, though. You know.
Until Elon came along, you would literally get kicked off of Twitter and banned.
Mhm.
Like, we still can't talk
Yeah.
about some of this stuff on YouTube without
Mhm.
fear of losing our channels.
Yeah.
Like, there are institutional mechanisms in place to prevent opposition from speaking out about certain topics.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
things they want to hide. Why can't we talk about them? Well, because they want to hide them.
We're probably skirting the line.
Why
right
else?
now.
Why else would then? Why we can't talk about it? Why can't we talk about the vaccines? Sorry, I'm not trying to hurt your channel. Why can't you talk about the vaccines? Why not? What is the problem? Are you saying you hate vaccines? Are vaccines a person group now?
Brian, don't say that word. My God.
But why can't we talk about them? What is the problem? What is it going to affect people that we talk and discuss and share our ideas and opinions or experiences with this thing that affects everyone in the world?
Yep.
Why can't we talk about it? The only reason we can't talk about it is because the only reason I can think of, and you tell me if there's another reason, boys. The only reason we can't talk about it is because there's something to hide.
No,
Well-
the reason is because the money behind the vaccines, the amount of money that these pharmaceutical companies were making could not be challenged, right?
Mhm.
Like they wanted to protect those funds. And therefore, anyone who had a common sense, the doctors who came out and talked about the dangers of this stuff, like they had to be suppressed because there was so much money on the
You're
table.
messing with the money. Yep, that makes sense too. But what about now? Everyone that's going to get vaccinated already got vaccinated. So what can't we talk about now?
Well, who are the big advertisers on all of cable news and all of YouTube and stuff like that? It's the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, dancing needles.
So until the government comes out and has a hard stance against mandatory vaccines and stuff like that, you're going to see this continue, in my opinion. But to Elon's point, the only way to fight stuff like this is to have the freedom to talk about it and to challenge it. And that's what made so many people so hopeful when he took over Twitter. And it's stuff like this kerfluffle with, Matt Walsh's documentary that puts people, on edge, because there were a lot of conservatives out there who felt like, oh, Twitter's finally on the right track. And then something like this happens. They're like, ooh, I don't know if I can trust going back to that platform again. So like there's a lot of weird stuff going on there.
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.